Okay, so in dairy engineering lesson, so in the first lesson, we will discuss about the uh, introduction of dairy engineering, its syllabus, what are different practicals, what are the different aspects of dairy engineering. We will going to learn in this subject. So, this is our syllabus, theory and relation that we have already seen. So those who have missed it can go through it. Okay, and these are the practical. Uh, Based on different related with the different equipments and operations unit operations in the dairy industry. So this is called milk pasteurizer, schematic of homogenizer, cream separator, milk pouching machine. This is dump tank, store the milk, means to dump the milk while collection. This is milk storage tank, vertical storage tank, and horizontal storage tank. Okay, this is ice bank tank for the chilling of water. Cold water is stored here. That water is again using at different locations for chilling or cooling purpose. Okay, these are the milk pumps that are sanitary quality. These are generally centrifugal pumps. Okay, this is boiler to generate the steam. This is cold storage room and water softeners. So pipe fittings, valves, and other milk handling equipments in dairy plant play an important role in maintenance of the quality of the product as well as cost of the plant installation. So generally there is the involvement of pipes to transfer the liquid from one place to another. There are different fittings. Fittings means like union, your reducer, this kind of things uh, are termed as fittings. Then valves for controlling the flow of the liquid. This is like side glass, your level indicator, temperature detector. The different equipments are used for the processing of the milk and handling of the milk equipment. So their maintenance is important from the sanitary point of view. Okay, so what are the different sanitary features? It should be easily accessible and readily cleanable either in an assembled position or when disassembled. So when suppose you have equipment, so and you want to clean it, okay, so that equipment should be easily get disassembled. It means we can remove the parts of the equipments easily, okay, by using simple tools for the cleaning purpose, and after cleaning uh, we will fix it again. So this operation should be easy to operate. Okay, removable parts are readily demountable. So this is the first sanitary features of the dairy equipments. If there is a hardship or it will requires more labor and more hard work and more sophisticated equipments to disassemble the any equipment, it will be time consuming and nobody will going to clean it. So that's why equipment should be easily accessible and readily cleanable. Then all product contact surface are self draining. Self draining means if you put something in the tank or equipment, and when we open the wall or any outlet, all the liquids should go automatically of the equipment. Okay, so all product contact surface are self draining, means you don't by the flow of the gravity. Okay, you don't need to blow or push the um, liquid or any product inside the tank forcefully. Okay, it should be automatically drained out. Okay, when assembled, no pipe or fitting threads are exposed to the product. So whatever the different kinds of threads, bolt, nuts, that should not be open to the product contact, or that should not come in contact with the product surface, otherwise it will contaminate the product. Then all permanent joints are welded and grounded to smooth finish. Suppose if there is any need of welding two joints, okay, or any part of the equipment. After welding, that part should be grounded by using grinder, and it should be smooth and polished so that it will be easy to clean. Okay. The interior surface are smooth and even, especially at joints, thus eliminating crevices and projections. So whatever the product equipment surface that is coming in contact with the product, it should be smooth. If there is a smoothness, it will be easy to clean. Okay. Gaskets are eliminated wherever possible. So we know that gaskets are used in the dairy industry. Gaskets are used in plate pasteurizers. Between two plates, we put the gaskets. Okay, we use gaskets in walls. We use gaskets in fittings also. Okay, so these gaskets are basically a rubbery part. Okay, like in your home, we use in the cooker we use that gasket ring. Okay, that is a kind of gasket. We use that gaskets for a proper fitting of the that equipment. Okay, same applies in the dairy industry. We should have we use gaskets for proper fitting. Okay, so that something will not leak out from the equipment. Okay, this, but wherever possible, avoid the gaskets. Okay, but if the gaskets are used, they should be smooth and non-toxic also. Otherwise, what will happen? If it is a toxic, it will go with the product, and there is a health hazard. Okay. And product resistant, it should be product resistant. Product resistant means suppose product is acidic in nature, that gasket should withstand at that much of pH level or acidity level, otherwise it will get into the product. Okay, also if it will also withstand the temperature, higher temperature also, according to your product need. Suppose we are going to pasteurize the milk at a 75 degrees centigrade or 72 degrees centigrade, so it should withstand at that temperature 72 degrees centigrade, or it should withstand 80 degrees centigrade also, 90 degrees centigrade also, depending upon what you are going to processing. Okay, they should not contribute to off flavors of the product. Okay, so gasket should be smooth, non-toxic, product resistance, and it should not impart any off flavor to the product. Okay, these are the scientific features of the equipment. So why need scientific equipments? Why we need scientific equipments in dairy industry? Because in dairy industry, this industry runs day in day out. Okay, it works in night shift also, it works in day also, it works in three shifts. Okay, so equipments continuously running, and hence there are more chances of wear and tear. Okay, wear and tear means there is a chances of any breakage, any kind of wear in the equipment. Okay, if you use something repeatedly, one day it will get broken down. Okay, so there are more chances of wear and tear. Also, we have very wide variations in temperature in our product plant, because we have to pasteurize the milk at 72 centigrade, but and simultaneously we have to also cool the milk at 4 degree, below 4 degrees centigrade. This is the big temperature fluctuations or temperature difference while processing the milk or any other product. And there is a effect of water, steam, brine, refrigerants, and sanitizing solutions also. We use this kind of utilities, raw materials. Okay, water is steam is a utility. Okay, refrigerants is also utility. So it should withstand this much of variations. The equipment should withstand this much of variations, and they are disassembled very frequently. Like a cream separator, we have to disassemble the cream separator after every shift or after every processing, because there is a deposition of cream and other solids in the cream separator that we have to remove manually. So for that purpose, to clean it, we have to disassemble the cream separator very frequently, or other equipments also we need to disassemble. So for that purpose we have to the equipment should be of sanitary quality. Then what are the sanitary requirements for the equipments? So it should be a dust proof, corrosion resistant external surface. So dust proof means it should be easily get cleaned. Okay, if we mop something on the equipment, it should be get easily cleaned. Corrosion resistance means as products will come in contact with the surface, if the surface metal is corrosive like iron, okay, what will happen? That iron particles or the corrosion particles will go in the product, and it will impart some kind of color or flavors, and it will create some health hazards to the consumers. So that should not happen in our industry, because ours is a food industry. Okay, anything which is not in the product, which is not the primary part of the product, is called as hazard. Okay, like your hairs, like pins, any plastic, that should not go with the product, otherwise it will create a hazard, health hazard, that is a serious crime. Okay, so it should be like that, dust prevent corrosion resistant. And it should have smooth polished surface, polished internal surface. Internal surface generally come in contact with the product. Outer surface is not coming in contact with the outer uh, product, but internal surface will come in contact with the uh, product. Okay, so it should be the smooth. If surface is smooth, cleaning will be easy, and product will not be deposited there. We have in home, we have that non-sticky pan also. Okay, and we have normal cooking pan, but we use cooking that non-sticky pan. What is non-sticky pan? It is a very smooth, nothing will stick to it, that is like a non-sticky pan, it will get cleaned easily. The same applies here. If there is a smooth surface, it will not get deposition over it. And the minimum clearance of 100 mm between equipment base and floor with wall foot. Okay, so whatever the equipment base, it should have a height up to the 100 mm between the ground floor, means the floor of the that plant on which it is located, and the equipment base, so as to clean the equipment easily. Okay, otherwise it will be very difficult to clean. Okay, so it should have some height above the ground. Okay, so that clearance should be around 100 mm. Then absence of sharp corners and edges. These sharp corners, what will happen if there is a sharp corners? Sharp corners will injure the operator while cleaning. There will be a cut on his hand, on her hand. Okay, that will cause some kind of injury, and blood will come out, that will contaminate the product. Okay, and so we should avoid the sharp corners and edges. Elimination of vertical dead spaces or passages and cavities. So dead spaces are those spaces where nothing will go, means that we cannot access it easily. Cleaning solution will not go there, so the product will get deposited there, and it will be very difficult while cleaning. So we have to avoid the vertical dead spaces. So in the next figure, I will explain you what is dead spaces and or passages. Okay, proper slopes towards drain points. So we know that in our at our home also, and in places we have seen that the whatever the in washroom also, whatever the water we put on the ground, it will automatically goes to the drain point. It should have slope. If there is no slope, water will logged out here. Okay, the same applies in the equipment also. If we give the proper slope in the equipment, all the product will drain easily, or they will self drain. Proper ground and polish weld. So if we have to weld something, that of equipment, that should be easily, that should be polished and ground. by using, means you have to ground it by using some grinder, so that if surface is clean, if surface is polished and grounded and smooth, there is a easiness in the cleaning. It will helps or assist in cleaning. So it should be properly ground and polished fields. Raise edge opening or to prevent surface draining into container. Okay, that we have to keep in our mind. Sanitary type inlet and outlet fitting. So whatever the uh, fittings you are using in a tank or in any equipment, that should be of sanitary type. Sanitary type means it allows maximum cleanliness. Okay, there should not be any dead end, there should not be any dead spaces, there should not be any welded parts. It should be of smooth. Okay, so that should be of sanitary inlet and outlet fitting. Our fittings generally are walls, joints, some kind of couples, joints. These are some sanitary type fittings. That's okay. Here in this in the left hand, uppermost left hand figure, we can see that those who are crossed, they are not preferred. They are not the sanitary design. Those are marked as a green. They are preferred. So in the very upper side figure, okay, you can see that the pipes are the gaps. The dead space is very much. Okay, dead space is very much. But in case of preferred figure, the dead space is very less. You can observe the differences. Yeah, in the same case also in the next figure, left side, right side figure, there is a tank, but in the wrong hygienic design, you can see that there is a depositions. They are not self draining. Okay, so that deposition will grow into a bacterial colony and it will contaminate the product. While in case of a right hygienic design, you can see a slope, self draining slope towards the outlet. So when you open a wall, outlet wall, all the liquids in the tank will automatically come out. There will be no stagnation of the product or the liquid inside the tank. In the down figure also, you can see that what is the wrong hygienic design and what is the right hygienic design. So in the first figure, you can see there is a tank having a horizontal, there is no slope, so there will be a logging of product. Okay, after opening wall, some liquid will be there, but if you round the edges, there will be a less chances of depositions. Okay, and in the next, you can see that the outlet is above the ground. Okay, so all the product will not go out when you open the wall, but in case of right figure, you can see that they have given some kind of slope. Okay, so whenever you put something inside the tank, it will, all the product will go out from the outlet. So these are some basic hygienic design of the dairy equipment. Okay, so first we will see iron and steel. So this iron and steel are mostly used for the construction of structures, like any kind of civil structure, like beams or any flooring. Okay, so this civil structure that are, it is not come in contact with the product. Okay, so iron and steel are used mostly for the making bases. Okay, and for civil construction use purpose. Okay, see, iron added with carbon is steel. So when we add carbon in the steel, in the iron, it is called as steel. Okay, and depending upon the percentage of carbon in the iron, steel is further classified as mild steel, low carbon steel. Okay, and steel with chromium content more than 10.5% is called as stainless steel. So this is the stainless steel which we use in dairy industry. What is the difference between a steel and a stainless steel? A steel with chromium content. So chromium is kind of a metal. Okay, when we add in the steel about 10.5%, it becomes stainless steel, and this chromium imparts a corrosion resistance to the stainless steel. Because of chromium, steel will not get corroded. So you should bear in mind what is the stainless steel. Stainless steel is a metal when chromium is added about 10.5%. So it is particularly used where corrosion is minimum and where the material is coming in contact with the milk and milk product. Okay, and we also add some nickel, okay, along with the chromium. So here in this table we can see that what is cast iron, wrought iron, mild steel, and their different uses and limitations and merits and demerits. Like cast iron, they are difficult to weld, they are very brittle in nature, and they cannot be forged. And this cast iron they are generally used for the heavy equipment beds for welding purpose, when casting of engines, gearbox, cases, etc. Wrought iron is usually welded tough, it is ductile and malleable, and it is basically used for making of chains, hooks, couplings, rivets, shock loading parts like that. And mild steels are that are highly ductile, they are malleable, means they can we can form in the steam sheet. They are tough, strong, okay, different different properties, okay, and these are basically used for structural elements, building equipment, and for conveyor frames. So these are the different iron and steel. And next one is stainless steel. So there are different kinds of stainless steel actually, but in the industry mainly two types of stainless steel are used. That is two grades. That is AISI 304, AISI 316. So AISI means long form is uh, American Institute of Steel and Iron, AISI 304. So based upon the chromium content and nickel content, they are classified as 304 and 316. So basically 304 is used for the construction of pipes, okay, pipes which are transferring the milks, okay, construction of pipes, fittings, construction of silos, tanks, and other vessels. So SI30 is 304 is used for this purpose, and SI316 is used for the fabrication of plates of plate heat exchanger. So in PHE or plate heat exchanger, the plates are made of AISI 316. Keep in mind, fast pressure plates are made of AISI 316. Then CIP tanks, because CIP tanks are acidic in nature or very basic in nature, so it should withstand the corrosion. Okay, so for that purpose, this we use AISI 316 material of construction. CIP tanks, evaporator tubes, like that. So when there is a high corrosion resistance needed, we use AISI 316. So in table you can see that the components and their composition percentage. Okay, so in AISI 304 carbon content is 0.08. Okay, while in AISI 316 there is a 0.10. Manganese is both same, that is 2%. Phosphorus is same, 0.04%. Sulfur is also same, 0.03%. What sulfur imparts? It imparts machining properties. Manganese imparts, it improves wear resistance. Then we add silicon 1% board, it imparts resistant to heat and chemicals. Now you can see that there is a chromium 18 is 18 to 20% in 304 and 16 to 18% in 316. So chromium gives harden ability to the stainless steel, and nickel concentration in AISI 304 is 8 to 10%, while in case of AIS 316 is 10 to 14%. So nickel is basically added to improve the toughness and corrosion resistance. Okay, these are the role of the nickel. So, and molybdenum is absent in ASI 304, but it is present in 316 at 2 to 3%. Okay, it increases resistance to corrosion. So as I said that AISI 316 is more resistant to corrosion than 304 because of this molybdenum. Okay, so AISI 304 is also called as 18:8. Okay, the ratio of chromium nickel. Question may be asked to you, the chromium and nickel percentage in ASI, how much it is? It is 18:8. So 18 is the chromium and 8 is the nickel. So these are the different composition of the 304 and 316. And here you can see that characteristics of different alloy of stainless steels, like types: ferritic, austenitic, semi-austenitic, martensticks. So chromium types, stainless steel, like these are the different grades: 403, 410, 414, 416, 41XC, 431, 440 series. So 400 series contains large amounts of chromium and little or no nickel. And chromium nickel types of alloy like austenitic, non-hardenable, except by cold working. 200 series, 300 series, and 300 series contain large amounts of chromium and nickel. And this semi-austenitic and martenstic, they are precipitation hardening, uh, like that, strengthening by aging or precipitation hardening. So the characteristic of different alloys of steel. So next one is the aluminum. So basically aluminum use uh, in old era, means in some a decade before, we use aluminum cans for collection of the milks. Okay, basically in dairy industry, they were used for the this aluminum used for the milk cans. But now we use stainless steel or that plastic cans. Okay, out of the characteristics of aluminum, it is light in weight. You know that aluminum is light in weight because it has density is low. It is insoluble in milk, does not impart any flavor, and can be spooned into various shapes. Yeah. But it is difficult to build. It is resistance to abrasion, is poor, and gives gray stain. Okay. Surface is generally given anodizing treatment, in which parts to be treated is made anode and dipped into electrolyte bath. So aluminum is light in weight, and we can fabricate into desired shape, uh, but its resistance to abrasion is poor. So we generally do not use aluminum in dairy industry or where the milk is contact with the product surface. Next one is plastics. So plastic is invariably used in dairy industry for milk pouches are made of plastic, LDP also. Crates are made of plastic. Okay, pallets are made of plastics. Packaging metal made of plastics. So plastics are invariably a part of the dairy industry. So there are different kinds of two types of plastics, and it's thermoplastic and thermosettings. So here you can see that thermoplastics are manufactured by a process called addition polymerizations. They are liquids at high temperature and crystallize readily at low temperature because of simple molecular structure. Uh, they generally show poor resistance to organic liquids. So if we use organic liquids, it will get melt, or it shows poor resistance. Okay, so what are the different plastic using are PTFE, that is polytetrafluoroethylene, polyethylene, HDP and LDP. So LDP used for the milk pouches are made of LDP, around I think 15 microns thickness. Okay, then polyvinyl chloride, that is PVC. Then acrylonitrile butadiene styrene ABS, cellulose acetate, butyrate, PTFE, polytetrafluoroethylene is used for pump shaft seal. Okay, so in the pump there is a shaft seal which is made up of PTFE. There is different plastics used in the industry. What are the basic characteristics of plastics? Because plastics are corrosion to resistance to corrosion. They are light in weight and can be molded in any shape, and they are less costly than metals. Okay, so that's why we use plastics.